Thanks for tuning in. An Open Book provides the list of summer reading for kids and also has some great reads for adults this season. Take a look as we are introduced to two books you might want to pick up and read this season. We're here at An Open Book in Newton, and you have some books for us for this season. So tell us what you have here, and then we're going to talk about a few other things. Obviously, it's summertime, and kids are going to be reading. So we'll talk about that later. But tell us about the two books that you picked out for us.
I picked two books. The first one is written by Tana French. It's called The Faithful Place. It's her third mystery book. They're set in Ireland, and they all have to do with members of the Dublin murder squad. Each of the three books is different and kind of stands alone, but they each involve characters that cross over between the different storylines. And this one in particular is about a detective on the murder squad who, as a teenager, is living in Dublin, and believes he's found the love of his life, Rosie, and they're going to sneak off and travel abroad, and start a new life together and leave, the life that their families and everything behind for a better future. And as he's waiting on Faithful Place for her to show up, she never shows up, and he leaves after waiting all night for her. She never comes up and decides that maybe she's changed her mind, and he decides to still leave. He leaves and goes on and creates a new life for himself, never really sees his family for the next 20 years or so, until her suitcase shows up, and the family, reach out to him and say, we found Rosie's suitcase, which brings to light, well, did Rosie go out on her own, or did she never leave Faithful Place? The second one is The Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet, which is written by Jamie Ford. It's historical fiction. It's written, goes back and forth between the present time and the 1940s, which is during World War II. The main character at that time is going to an all-white school. He is Chinese. He meets the only Japanese girl in the school, and they form an unlikely friendship, but during that time, right after Pearl Harbor, all of the Japanese are eventually taken and put into internment camps. And so it's an interesting background going back and forth. It starts out in the future. He's walking through town in Seattle, and there's a hotel, and in the basement of the hotel, which has been boarded up and closed for the last 40 years, the new owners have found boxes of belongings that belonged to these Japanese American families who had lived there in the 40s and were taken away to the camps. And it reminds him of this time in the past when he was 12 years old and had met this girl, and she had been taken away to the camp, and it goes back and forth between the life that he had then and the life that he has now.
So these are great books for adults to read, but also kids are reading in the summertime as well.
Yep, the kids, most of the area schools have required summer reading for the kids. If they're not reading something specific, they usually have to read a certain number of books. We try to give them suggestions of what to read for the summer, things that they enjoy reading. There's also a lot of popular movies that have recently been released that were based on books. So if they happen to like Judy Moody or Mr. Popper's Penguins, we have those books in stock. They can read those types of books, or we also have their summer reading lists on hand, so we know what the school is looking for them to read. If you have something particular that you're looking for, we're more than happy to find it. A lot of people come in and say, I'm going on vacation, I just want something easy to read, simple to read, take me away, I don't want to have to put too much thought in it. Lots of great beach reads, easy things to read, and we have lots of recommendations to help them find what it is that they're looking for.
Just state again the titles of these books, and everyone, you can come out to An Open Book on Spring Street in Newton to find these books and more. So just tell us the titles again.
Sure. The first one is The Faithful Place by Tana French, and the second one is The Hotel on the Corner of Bitter Sweet, which is written by Jamie Ford.